I like mazes. I think a lot of people like mazes. Maybe that's why they're on the back of paper restaurant menus for kids. Maybe mazes are for kids because they're too easy. It got me thinking about how to make a more difficult maze. So I coded a quick maze game to see how hard I could make it. And even if I made the maze really big, it did not get that difficult. I had the maze randomly generated by a simple algorithm, and I'm not sure what is the most devious algorithm to use to generate mazes. But it doesn't change my thinking, which is that fundamentally you do not have that many choices in a maze. Many paths are obviously dead ends relatively quickly. Most of the time the choice is between moving towards one edge or another edge, and it's not too difficult to see ahead if that edge is blocked. In the mazes I made, there were typically only a handful of choices to make. To have more choices, which way to turn in the maze, I thought about a three-dimensional maze. How could I solve a three-dimensional maze? What would it look like? So I made one. A three-dimensional maze is like a book of two-dimensional mazes stacked together, where at certain points there are holes in the paper to jump to the next page in the book. So I have indicated the jump points here with colored dots and lines. So this is a three-dimensional maze with dimensions 3 by 3 on each page, and then 2 pages, so for a total of 3 by 3 by 2 maze. Now we are getting somewhere. In a three-dimensional maze, there are more choices. In a three-dimensional maze, there are more ways to zigzag. In a three-dimensional maze, it is much less obvious which way to go. But I think even a three-dimensional maze is too easy. There are still only 3 directions to go: north-south, east-west, and up-down. So what about adding a 4th dimension? What would a maze in 4 dimensions look like? In addition to north-south, east-west, and up-down, we could add in and out. So you could think about it like books of mazes forming a multi-volume set of 3D maze books. So for example, you could jump from page 37 in one book to page 37 in the next book. Okay, now we're talking. 3 books with 4 pages each of 3 by 4 sets of squares. Still a little bit too easy though. Okay, I finally made a maze too hard to solve. This is 3 books of 4 pages each, having 6 by 8 sets of squares. I could not solve this without help.